Hi, Chuck. You wanted to see me?
Yes. Hey, Tommy, thanks for stopping by. Come on in. Have a seat. Yeah, during the weekly sales meeting this morning, you mentioned that you were going over to Hunter's Landscaping this week to do a walk-around on a Durastar.
Yeah, I got a good referral from Greg at G&H Landscaping. The Hunters might be looking for trucks pretty soon.
Oh, that is great. David Hunter has been on our target list for some time now. So, tell me, what have you learned about Mr. Hunter so far?
Well, I know the basics. He does commercial landscaping and snow removal at shopping malls and office buildings. He has 14 trucks, mostly Fords, that he keeps for 8 years. But that's about it.
Well, that is a good start, Tommy. But you definitely need to find out more about Mr. Hunter and his business before you go to a walk-around. Or you're going to be wasting your time because you won't have any idea how to justify the price differential between our product and the competition.
Well, I was hoping to find out more about his business during the walk-around.
Hoping isn't the best strategy in this case, Tommy. I strongly recommend that you plan your pre-approach with the customer. I mean, there are hundreds of potential features and advantages on a truck, and you need to find out which ones impact the customer and his business, and talk only about those in terms of benefits that the customer will recognize as being important. Tommy, an effective walk-around starts way before you get the customer in front of a truck.
Man, I really need to call up Mr. Hunter and find out more about his business. I honestly don't know what he's looking for when he's buying a truck.
Well, now wait a minute. Not so fast, Tommy. Sit back down. Yeah, it's true. You have to spend time learning all you can about the customer and his business, but you need to do some homework first before you call on the customer. In fact, we need to go over the whole questioning model.
Questioning model? You're losing me, Chuck.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry, Tommy. That's my fault. I forgot that you aren't scheduled to take the basic sales training class until next month. Well, a questioning model is a systematic approach on how to question or interview a customer. I've seen a number of different approaches from different vendors over the years, but the one that International uses in its sales training class does a good job of giving you a basic understanding of the different levels or types of questions to ask a prospective customer to help you close more deals. Let me give you a quick rundown on the key points.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay, before we go any further in understanding the different types of questions, keep in mind that you must first learn to listen. It shows that you have a genuine interest in helping the customer and that you care about the unique issues and problems they face.
What do I need to do to be a better listener?
Well, let's take a look at a few of the points. Request an appointment with the clear purpose of conducting an interview. Stay focused. Turn off your cell phone or BlackBerry and avoid any distractions. Take notes. Don't interrupt. Be patient. Let the buyer do most of the talking. Hear the whole message. Get the operational and emotional issues. Don't judge or filter what's being said based on your own beliefs. And customers don't want you to start selling immediately. Okay? Show them that you care about them and their business. And then summarize the message. After you hear what the prospect has to say, provide a brief summary to ensure that you heard correctly.
Most of this is simple courtesy, but what kind of questions do I need to ask?
All right, here's a quick look at the type of questions that will help in selling. As is or current situation questions will help you get to know the prospect's background, current hauling situations, and what strengths and what weaknesses may exist. Should be problem questions will help you identify the prospect's business goals. In other words, uncover problems and difficulties that can be potentially solved with your products and services. And need or payout questions. They are the so what or what's in it for me from the buyer's point of view. They may result from your solution to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. A good analogy is helping your customer build a bridge.
A bridge?
Yeah, look at this diagram. Here's your customer on this side of the canyon. That's the current or as-is situation. He wants to get to the other side. That's the should be. By getting the answers to the payout questions, we help the customer raise the urgency of bridging that gap with our solution. Now, let's look in detail at the different types of questions and how to use them effectively. The as-is questions are designed to develop a background of the company, what the prospect is doing at the present time, and what strengths and weaknesses are. Now, these questions are typically more factual in nature and easier for the buyer to answer than other types of questions. Here's just a few examples of as-is questions. What's the current maintenance practice and cost of your existing fleet? Or what do your drivers like best or least about the existing fleet? Or what is the weight of your usual payload?
What about the obvious ones like how many trucks do you have or what make and model?
Yes, those are as-is questions. But you need to be careful. As-is or situational questions are the easiest type of questions a salesperson can ask. They're also the most boring to answer and can lead to a sense of frustration. The frustration on the buyer's perspective is that this information could be obtained from other sources in several other ways that wouldn't take up the limited time the buyer or fleet owner has. For instance, use the internet to find out as much about the customer and their business as you can. Financial reports from Dun & Bradstreet or Hoovers.com, looking at the potential buyer's web page. Industry-related web pages are a possibility. Right along with them to see firsthand what is expected of the truck, what kind of headaches the drivers face day to day. Getting permission to speak to people lower in the organization is a great place to collect situational information and for building allies. Asking one of your existing customers or prospects for help can be a good source. You want to minimize the time spent on collecting as-is questions. Instead, use your time to ask the high-level or higher-value questions about bridging the gap, about where they are and where they would like to be. And help your customer determine how the cost of your potential solution outweigh the pain associated with not bridging the gap.
So what you're saying is that a good sales rep will do his homework in advance of meeting with the customer?
Exactly right, Tommy. And here's something else to keep in mind about questions. Try to get the customer talking. And you do that by asking open-ended questions, which are questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. Okay, now turn the page and let's look at the should-be questions. All right, should-be questions help you uncover the buyer's vision of the operation at optimum performance. The questions focus on the problems and difficulties that can be potentially solved with your products and services. Examples of should-be questions are, what changes would you like to see in your fleet maintenance? Or what flexibility in loads do you believe your customers will demand in the future?
Now I get it. I've heard you ask customers, if you could change any 3 things on the trucks you are running today, what would they be?
Yeah. That is one of the common questions that I use for walk-in customers. You see, a question like that quickly points out the gap between as-is and should-be, uncovering dissatisfactions and difficulties in the current situation. The answers you and the potential buyer explore in response to your should-be questions, they create the gap which the rest of the sales process will bridge. Now, finding out the impact on the buyer are called payout questions. Payout questions focus on the benefit, value, and usefulness of potential solutions from the buyer's point of view. In answering the payout questions, the buyer is actually expressing the benefits of a potential solution to you versus you having to tell the buyer the benefits. It is in these questions that you help the potential buyer get focused on the seriousness and the cost of the problem, compared against the cost of a potential solution. Examples of payout questions are, what would you do with the additional revenue an extra 100 pounds of payload per trip would generate? Or, how would driver productivity gains impact your business? How would you invest the savings of a 3% improvement in fuel economy?
So basically, any question that sounds like, if we could help you get to your should be, what impact would that have on your business?
As long as you can tie the payout question to the customer's business needs, yes. After you've done enough interviews, it'll become almost second nature. But for now, to help you remember all the questions, plan on filling out a client profile for each of your customers. 2 critical thoughts about payout questions. Don't ask a payout question about an issue if you do not have a product or service that will bridge the gap that is the focus of the question. With this type of question, you're raising the felt need for solving the problem. If you have no solution, you're driving the potential buyer to seek a solution elsewhere, and this is most likely a competitor. And what is important is the quality of the payout questions, not the quantity. The willingness and ability of a salesperson to manage these payout questions in a real sales situation is the major differentiator between a good and excellent salesperson. Tommy, let me ask you, where do you want to be at this time next year? When was the last time you researched a customer before you called on them? Do you have a solid list of 25 to 30 questions to ask owner-operators when they come on the lot? Or do you just shoot the breeze, talking about the weather in a friendly manner? You see, now if you really want to be a good sales professional, you need to understand that a good walk-around starts before you get the customer in front of a truck. Now, that being said, first thing tomorrow, pull one of the Durastars into the shop and we'll practice your walk-around together. Okay?
Sounds great, Chuck.